Welcome back, Deadites and Ghost Speeders, and if you're new to the channel, I am Oldhead Gaming, horror content creator and variety streamer, and today we are going to find out exactly why the PTB was pushed back and what effects are coming, and it looks like both survivors and, of course, killers are getting a little something, and we already kind of knew what was coming. It had been talked about a while ago with the Finishing Mori. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be live until Chapter 26, apparently, but it is going to be tested out on this PTB, and of course, we'll do some live testing of what it looks like to do the Finishing Mori when the PTB goes live. But for now, we're going to take a look at what is exactly coming in the PTB, because there is a lot we want to go over. We have some perks being changed, some cool stuff's coming, so let's take a look at that. So first thing we're going to see is bring the trial to a gruesome and finish with the Finishing Mori. A hint of each killer's character shines through with their Mori, whether that's Trickster's showmanship or the Hag's questionable diet. The only way to see these animations currently is use a Memento Mori offering or equip one of the few select perks, leading them to rarely being seen. Moreover, Moris have garnered somewhat negative reputation over the years, being used out of spite against a particular survivor. This upcoming PTB will feature an early version of the new Finishing Mori system. Unlike most PTBs, this feature will not be going live in the following update. Kind of like we mentioned earlier, there's still some work to be done on it before it's ready to release, but we wanted to give you an opportunity to try it out and share your thoughts. And like I said, we will be doing some matches on the PTB and trying to get those Moris done and see what it's like doing the activation. Last standing, and hope is not lost. So last standing, when all the survivors are dead, dying, hooked, or have escaped, you become the last standing. Both your and the killer's senses are heightened, granting you a wider field of view. Rescuing a survivor will end the last standing phase, but being down as the final survivor, on the other hand, will trigger the Finishing Mori. When the last survivor is down, the trial will draw to a climatic end. Both the survivor and killer will be moved to a preset point on the map, free of any obstructions that may get in the way, and the killer's Mori animation will begin. Any survivor still in the trial will be killed by the entity and treated like a sacrifice. So if anyone's down or hooked, they're going to get sacrificed with the Mori. Hope is not lost. With this new system in place, leaving survivors on the ground, aka slugging, may seem more appealing, opening the possibility of ending the match early, but the survivors aren't going to give up without a fight. After being left on the ground for 45 seconds, survivors will now be able to pick themselves up without the need of any perks, the time affected by this recovery speeds. So what that means is they're now putting Unbreakable in the base kit. They're all about putting Bill's perks in the base kit. Perk updates. With both the Mori and the ability to pick yourself up as part of the base kit, a handful of perks that grant these abilities will need adjustments. Therefore, the ability to pick yourself up has been removed from Unbreakable, Soul Guard, No Mither, and Boon Exponential, as these are now parts of base kit. The ability to Mori survivors has been removed from Rancor and Hex Devour Hope, as they are now part of base kit. In addition, some of these perks will have changes made before the PTB. However, since this is an early preview, the in-game descriptions have not yet been updated. Unbreakable now increases dying self-recovery speed 80, 90, 100%. Rancor, once all generators are powered, the Obsession's aura is revealed for 5 seconds, and they are permanently inflicted with exposed status effect. And Hex Devour Hope, once 5 tokens have been earned, any survivor placed on the hook is instantly sacrificed. As always, with keeping close on the feedback for any of the affected perks. So, what are we gonna do with those Mementos for Moris? With Finishing Mori being triggered automatically with the last survivors down, Memento Mori offerings no longer have any use and will also receive an update. These offerings will now award a bounty of blood points based on the number of survivors killed if you earn a Finishing Mori. Cypress Mori 8,000 if at least 2 survivors are killed and the match ends in a Finishing Mori. Ivory Memento gain 12,000 blood points if 3 survivors are killed with a Finishing Mori. Ebony Memento Mori gain 20,000 blood points if all 4 survivors are killed, match ending in a Finishing Mori. Much like the perk changes listed, but please keep in mind these offering changes will not be released without the Finishing Mori system. The Finishing Mori system, anti-slugging mechanic, and other changes mentioned in this post will be available for testing during next week's PTB. As a reminder, the new features will not be part of 6.3 update, or commonly known as the 25.5 mid-chapter. This is an early preview that is not yet ready for release. We would rather like to gather your feedback as early as we can continue to develop these features to make their eventual release as smooth as possible. Until next time, Dead by Daylight team. And there you have it. What apparently now seems to be the case is that we have a huge change in how this system's going to work. So we had heard about the Finishing Mori coming. We now have a little more idea. It's going to be on the PTB next week. We'll do some videos on it so we can see what it looks like when they go into the cinematic. And of course, they changed how slugging and how perks would work for like Unbreakable. Unbreakable's now going to be base kit basically, so that way you can just pick yourself up. And so all those perks that they mentioned, like No Mither and Soul Guard, etc., are now going to get modified when this actually launches. So I think there's some pretty cool stuff that they're changing, especially for people that really like to slug and just leave everyone on the ground anyway. It will have pros and cons now that everyone can literally pick themselves up if they just heal long enough, which is an interesting thing since you no longer need to bring those perks. And it's weird that Bill just seems to be like base kit are us now, as borrowed time keeps getting more and more part of base kit. And now it looks like Unbreakable's joining it. So what do you think, chat? Is this going to be better for solo queue? Is this going to be better for the game? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.